If you're in your 40s or 50s and you keep wondering why you don't want sex anymore, even though you love your partner, I'm going to say something that might sting. It's not that your libido disappeared, it's that you were trained to be a good girl. And good girls don't prioritize their own desire. Good girls don't disrupt the room. Good girls make everyone else comfortable. But being a good girl is fundamentally incompatible with being a turned on woman. So, in this episode, we're going to unpack why your sex drive didn't fail, it went offline, and what it actually takes to bring it back. All right. So, Barbara, let's kick by talking about what do we mean? What is being a good girl? Like, paint a picture for us of what that training is like, that conditioning is like, and how that shows up for so many women.
So, when you are a little girl, you learn all of these rules. Some of them are verbally communicated, some of them are actually even non-verbally communicated. And it's to be nice,
Yeah.
to be agreeable, to be accommodating, to avoid being too much, too loud, like taking the shape, your body is taking the shape of somebody who doesn't want to disappoint anyone around her, constantly scanning, like, is everyone okay? And like, how can I make myself even better to make sure everyone's okay? Terrified of being called selfish, slutty, dramatic, needy, and performs worthiness through service.
Yep. Yeah, and I can speaking for myself. I learned early that I shouldn't be too needy. You said that already, that I can't want too much, that I can't be too like don't be too loud, too visible, too braggy, too ambitious, right? Like it was all about making everyone else feel comfortable, and definitely don't be too sexual unless it's convenient and like desired in that situation. So it's all about pleasing other people. And so in the meantime, we're taught all these things about essentially how to be wanted by others, but no one teaches you how to want. Like no one stops and says, what do you actually want? What do you need? What do you feel? What are your desires? And then we wake up in our 40s or 50s and we're like, I something feels off. Like what the fuck? At least that's what happened for me.
Yeah, so it's like, it's like imagine like this is the muscle your body, your nervous system has taken the shape since childhood and you got some sort of validation back. So it's like good girl is survival mode. You were surviving. You had to be the good girl because you were too little and you had no power and you had to do the things the way that they wanted them done in order to survive, to stay part of the tribe, right? Because
Yeah.
being a good girl is also, it's all about learning early on that love is compliance. And so your nervous system is going to associate safety with people pleasing. That's not actually safe.
Yes. Yes.
Belonging with self abandonment. Like if I say yes to something I don't want to do, I'm self abandoning, but they want me to do it. So now I belong, right?
Yeah.
Approval with suppression of desire. So if like I wanted something as a little kid and I would say it, like it would be like little girls in a like little girls in Russia don't even have toilet paper,
Yeah.
because like
Right. Yeah, how dare you?
how dare you? Like they have to stand online for toilet paper for like hours. Like you have Barbies, like you want more. So it's like I remember like looking for ways of like, look, like I didn't ask for more, I didn't say anything, or just like, and then I just got used to not saying anything. Like then
Yeah.
you just become complacent. And what
Yeah.
happens is libido cannot thrive in self-suppression.
Yeah. Yeah, because desire really requires you to surrender, right? And to surrender, you need to feel safe. And good girls don't live in safety, they live in vigilance, right? So ultimately, that vigilance that comes with the good girl training kills any erotic charge, kills your nervous system's ability to open and enjoy and like sink into sensation. So and this persists, right? As you become an adult, like maybe you get married or you have children or whatever responsibilities come with adulthood. Now you're managing that and taking care of that on top of still wanting to please everybody and monitoring your own body so that she stays compliant to whatever the beauty standard is in the world. Or even during sex, right? Like even during sex you start like, okay, can you see my muffin top? Am I moaning sufficiently? Am I like, ugh, you cannot surrender while you're managing.
Right, because the good girl is always active, right? The whole concept of the good girl, she's like
Mhm.
hijacking every part of your life and she keeps you in your head so that you can like do it's like a checks and balances of like, am I doing what I think they want? Because you don't really know what they want. Am
Yeah.
I doing it perfect? And it keeps you out of your body.
Mm.
And like, if you're not in your body during sex, you're missing like all of the incredible
All the
nerve
good
ending
stuff.
sensation, the yumminess and everything. And that's actually what she does. It's like she takes you out of your body, keeps you in your head, and then you're like wound really tight. Your body's probably like clenching like this all the time.
Yeah.
Like jaw, like even if you are someone who has been taught to be a good girl and still conforming to it, it's okay. Just notice what's happening in your body right now. Maybe it needs to soften. Like the good girl does not soften. She is wound tight and she's too
Yes.
big to
Yeah.
stop and take care of herself because good girls don't take care of themselves. They take care of everyone else. There's no time,
Everyone else.
there's
Totally.
time for any, for anyone else. And it's just like getting back to you, like, I just want to make a point of like libido is not just about hormones. I think a lot of people think libido is about hormones, but it also has an incredible psychological aspect to it. And it requires permission, agency, power, fantasy, risk, self-focus.
Novelty, all those things. Yeah.
So that is something the good girl, when you became a good girl with actually out your consent, it was kind of forced on us.
Yeah.
Um, you said, you like unconsciously said no to that part of your libido, the psychological part of your libido. And
Yeah.
that stacks over time
Yeah.
because you are not allowing yourself, you know, like literally, like I just said, libido requires permission.
Yeah.
Like if you never learned what consent was, because consent, what is consent? It's permission. If you actually subconsciously, you didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So you were like, I'm giving
Yeah.
away all.
It's, what's funny is like when I first heard someone talk about this whole concept of like the good girl training, I so strongly rejected it. This is a slight tangent, but I think it's important. I strongly rejected it because I identified as someone who did not conform, did not do what everyone else was doing. I am not a sheeple. I'm an Aquarius. I'm fucking independent, right? And
Right.
I just so rejected that idea. And then, but the earworm got into my ear, and like I started to notice how often, even in my like rebellious fuck you, I don't care nature, how I would like do the fuck you and then like still try to like make sure they like me, right? Like, you like me for being rebellious, right? Like, I still would like somehow like add a joke to it or some kind of comment that was seeking approval and confirmation that you still like me, even
Mhm.
in bed. And so if you're watching this or listening to this and you're like, that doesn't apply to me, I don't do that. I challenge you to feel in your body. Like, when do you like soften yourself a little or lean in, or, maybe it's really blatant for you, but for me, it was like a little bit of a mind fuck. So anyway, but back to hormones. You're right. Hormones are not
I think that's a good segue
both.
because let's go into the nervous system of the good girl. So if you're listening and you're like, am I a good girl? I'm not sure. I don't really resonate with this, but something does resonate. If there's like that confusion or like you're triggered by this and you want to understand it more, it's like, here's how you know. Let's do a little checklist. Okay. If you're constantly scanning for approval, if you're managing everyone else's emotions, if you're terrified of being judged, like if there's
Yep.
like a real deep fear, um,
Especially being called selfish. Like if
Right.
that's a trigger word for you, someone calling you selfish for choosing something that pleases you, you're probably being a good girl.
If you feel guilty for needing, like, I know a lot of moms who, because the good girl also like feeds into motherhood, because it's like, then now you're not just you're the
Yeah.
good mother. So if you're feeling
Yes.
guilty
Yes.
for eating, like you're this mom who does everything, and then you're like, I just need to take a nap or I need to sleep or something, but my kids need every X, Y, and Z. And so you continue to like put them before you, and then you feel guilty for actually even being like, I need an hour to myself. You're over functioning, you're over giving, you're chronically performing.
Yes.
Always trying to get it right. Like everything has to be perfect, everything. Like it's a neurosis, hyper vigilance, constantly scanning the room. I mean, there's so many things. Like the truth of the matter is that's the nervous system. That's how you're showing up. That's how the good girl in you is showing up. And when that happens, here's the thing to really like land this, you don't feel turned on. Like, I
Right.
don't feel turned on when my good girl is running the show
Yeah.
because desire requires self like prioritization. It like requires you to put like desire wants to come first. Desire is orientation and wants you to follow it. Because essentially what you're doing when you're a good girl, you're saying, I'm going to choose everyone else's desire over mine. And then you're turned off.
Right. Because she's keeping you safe. Like that's what the good girl was born from, right? This like I'm learning how to navigate the world. When I am a good girl, people are happy with me. They treat me better. They respond better to me. And that works when you're younger. When you hit midlife, when you hit your 40s and 50s, what happens to so many women is hormones do start to shift and you get tired of how much caretaking you've done all your life and the resentment starts to really build and surface and your tolerance for all these things that you put up with. I've heard this from so many women. Your tolerance for all of the bullshit just leaves the door, like just leaves the building. And all of a sudden you're like, fuck this noise. And you don't want to perform anymore. And you don't want to be the good girl. But instead, you realize like, I don't know what I actually do want. Like
Right,
desire went away. It like
right,
disappeared. And so you think it's my hormones, this low libido, it's aging, blah, 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 blah. It might be hormones that might be play a role. I'm not saying don't see your doctor, please see your doctor, etc. But also, this conditioning plays a huge role even for younger women before we get into like the hormonal shifts of menopause. And it's not that your desire disappeared, it's that all of a sudden you're not performing anymore. And now you need a new like, wait, what do I do with
right.
all this? How do I feel,
Yeah,
you know?
I need like, I know I'm not doing that. Well, first of all, I just want to say that moment when you're like the tolerance, it's so like fuck this shit because you've seen it. Like you like when you're young, like under 20, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. You're just doing what they told you just to survive. Then you kind of get like when you get that separation from the herd a little bit, you're like, huh, I'm
Mhm.
still not ready. There's still a lot of guilt and shame. So I'm going to keep doing it this way. But you start to get disenchanted. You start to get jaded because you're like, I'm doing it how they told me. I'm doing the good girl
Yeah.
thing and I'm not getting the good girl results that I was promised. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And by 30, I feel like I was at 30, I was like, fuck this noise. It's not for me because
Yeah.
I am not getting what I want. I'm not happy. I'm turned off. I feel like I want to die. And what am I doing? What's the point of any of this? And it's boring. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Like, and like it's the life force is gone, right? So it's like
Yeah.
then yeah, then you're like, you get into that place of like, oh my God, I could have what I desire. I could get back to me. I could be turned on. It doesn't matter the age. Like I could feel juicy. I could be relaxed. I could be present. I could be safe in like being a hot mess. I'm constantly saying to, I'm like, I'm a hot mess. I don't know what's going on. I don't give a fuck. Like I don't care
Yeah.
that people know I'm like a hot mess. I'm like, yeah, I'm a hot mess. Like everything's falling apart. I don't care. Like it's like, and it's liberating. It's like when you judge me, it's none of my business. I don't even want like I'm like I'm
Yeah.
busy having so much fun that like I'm not afraid of that judgment, right? And then
Yeah.
that is like all of that is like the requirement of the libido to start really coming back online.
Yes. Okay. So I want to double click on that because you just shared some of what I know watchers, listeners are wondering is like, okay, well, how do I bring it back? Great. You're right. I feel this. This resonates. It makes sense. I feel it in my body. But how do I shift it? Right. Like it's not enough to just be like, oh, I see it. This is conditioning. And you just said some of the things. One, fucking have fun. Like it's so simple. But if you prioritize pleasure and joy and fun and play, like that alone can start to bring desire back fast and strong because that's where your body wants to spend time. That's where your whole spirit, your psyche, everything can relax, right? And actually enjoy. So that's like number 1, fun, pleasure. Number 2, I'll let you take the second one because now I'm stealing your
I,
thunder.
I would say practice something like practice like wanting something small and naming it, like basic, like even like I really want like that lavender like coconut milk latte from that place that's like 30 minutes away, and like saying that out loud and saying that to someone in your life and being like, I really want that. Just name it. Just say it out.
Love
Just
that. That's so good. That's so good.
you want
Like
on the
it's not a practical desire. We're not talking about like I want to get a haircut.
right,
Like the lavender latte that can only come from this one place 30 miles
right.
away. That beautiful.
Practice, just like let yourself want things, right? Like I want a fresh bouquet of flowers just because they're pretty, and it's not Valentine's Day and it's not my birthday and no one did anything wrong, but I would really love to see flowers in my space that light me up. I want that. And I'm not even saying to go far as asking it, but actually notice small things that you
Mhm.
want and
Mhm.
just name them verbally
Yes.
out loud to someone
Yes.
that you trust and feel safe with. Another
And
thing that I
just as a side note, this is exactly the sort of thing that we do inside the Sensual Sisterhood, our free community, not the Sensual Sisterhood podcast, but the community is we share desires.
yeah,
Like we'll just vomit a whole bunch of crazy things that outrageous desires we might have, not just for the sake of claiming them, as you were saying, although that's a big piece of it, but also because sharing those desires fuels other women's desires in the community, right? Like the sisterhood thrives off of that. And it's amazing how that vibe, that energy actually fucking manifests them and brings them to life because now it becomes a focal point. Now it's not this like random thought you had once 10 years ago that you filed away for some day, but you're talking about it. You're writing about it. You're thinking about it. You're like imagining what it would be like to have that experience or that thing. And suddenly libido comes back because your nervous system's doing a whole different dance, right? It's
yeah.
not vigilant anymore. It's actually like, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to fuel what feels good for us. That I'm into.
So right, because when you do end up naming things that you feel like the smallest things, it allows you to take bigger steps to name the bigger things. And you start to see, like, wait a second, no one died. Nothing bad happened. So now your
Yeah.
nervous system is actually, the biology is your nervous system is getting comfortable with being uncomfortable with the naming of the desire. Then it's getting comfortable with being comfortable with, wait, I can say something that I want, I can name it and just be in that space. And it like, the more you do that, the more your nervous system feels safe, the more you open yourself to receive it. Because part of the resistance of not having the things you want is because your nervous system is so afraid to
Yeah.
say what it wants.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, that's like, so really just start with something small, like the smallest thing, but something that actually, when you think about it, it like makes you giggle or like, just like it turns you on, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever,
Or
it.
here's another really like micro one is like the next time someone asks you, would you rather have your pizza, your leftover pizza slice reheated in the microwave or the toaster oven? Don't say I don't care because you fucking care. You have a preference. You know you do. Just say what it is, right? Or would you rather have an extra this or that? Like I bring that up because that's literally an example that happened with me and my partner where he was like reheating some pizza. This was early on in our relationship when I was coming out of, just starting to come out of my good girl conditioning. And he was like, do you want this in the toaster oven, the microwave? I was like, I don't care. He was like, let me ask you this again. Do you want it toasted or do you want it in the microwave? And he was like not gonna budge until I chose. And I had to like stop and like feel into it because I was so used to not caring because I was taking care of the kid, the husband, the whatever, that I lost track of that. So try that little micro thing. Next time someone asks you like what your preference is, tell them, like own it.
And if you need some support, that's what we do in the Sensual Sisterhood. If you need us to be like, we're not moving on until you tell us,
Yeah.
do you want it in the microwave or do you want it in the toaster oven? We will do
Yes.
that for you because that's how you get it into your body to start. That is like a line of demarcation. That
Yep.
is, and like again, once you say it out loud in a room where people are like, okay, we really want to know what you want, not what you think we want, but what you really want, your nervous
Yes.
system, again, clocks that as I am safe. And what does a woman need to have super high multi-orgasmic life? Safety. She needs to feel
Yes.
safe. So
Yes.
that is part of like that, again, that's biology.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so that's one of the things. Then I would say no once this week without
Mm.
actually like over explaining. Like somebody's like, can you do
Yeah.
this? No, I dare you. This is a hard one. This is for the bold. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you want to go for a walk? No. You're going to see how much of the good girl is really going to come up. That's a really good test to
Totally.
see.
Because you want to explain, you want to make it okay. You want to make sure no one's upset with
Right.
you.
Like,
Just
I'm going to let them down. I'm not going to be there. Like, to like, something that you don't want to do. If you really don't
Mhm.
want to, just like, no thanks.
Yep.
And
Yep.
watch how much of you
Yeah.
wants to be like, and like, just approve of that part, but don't actually, if you do over explain, that's fine, but just notice that anyway.
Yeah.
And, or like, if you can really like not, but just be with that. And then come to the Central Sisterhood and share it with us because we'd love to
Yeah,
hear about
totally. Or notice if you do pull it off, notice how like an hour later, this is what happens to me sometimes still. An hour later, I'm like, oh, I should check in with her. The person I said no to without like a thing, right? Like an hour later, the good girl's like, hey, excuse me, you weren't being good. So it's an ongoing thing, and we would love for you to come join us in the Sensual Sisterhood where we practice this together, right? Like
it.
that's the final message I want to land this plane with is that this shifting the way you've always done things, right? The cage that kept you safe, which is the good girl cage we're talking about here, is not going to let your desire back in. It's trying to keep you safe. We want you to have safety, but there's a different way. And it requires you to practice. It's not something you can listen to in a podcast once and be like, okay, I'm done with that. It would be cool if it were. But it's a practice and it works so much better and so much more faster. And it's also so much more fun in a room full of women. It just is. So come play
Yeah.
with us.
Like, and it's like the thing is, the other thing that I want to land in is because we live in this world of like wrong or right, bad or good, good girl, bad girl. Like, we're not like come and play with us and be like, now we're going to be these like wild bad girls. I mean, you can be if you want to be, right? Like, it's basically you can be whatever you want to be. But for this particular segment, what I really want to get across, what I want really to land in the bodies that are listening to this is that libido grows when you really feel your power in your body, when you feel deep self trust, and when you feel sovereign. So, like, if you consider that to be a bad girl, great. If you don't consider
Yeah.
that bad girl, great. We're not really attached. Really, that's what it is, because that is going to allow you to enhance your libido. That is going to make your sex life, your turn on, everything richer. You're going to go from surviving to thriving.
Yes. So well said. Perfect place to wrap up today's episode and just say thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week, or maybe we'll see you sooner inside the Sensual Sisterhood.
Hey, come
Until
back.
then, remember, pleasure is not a luxury. It's the way back to yourself. Mwah.